And welcome to another week of Upon Further Review. I'm Josh Aubrey. Getting to be a busy time for football around Bulloch County and softball as well. The Georgia Southern Eagles began their fall practices this past Friday on the banks of beautiful Eagle Creek as they opened up their 2019 campaign preseason. They've gotten into full pads on Tuesday. We'll hear from Coach Lunsford and some of the players coming up. Also have some unfortunate news coming out of Georgia Southern from the first day of practice as well. We'll get to the updates from that. We'll also hear from Athletic Director Tom Kleinlein as he talks about an array of different things. We'll also be going out to Southeast Bulloch and hearing from head coach Barrett Davis, who had a successful first year with the Yellow Jackets, taking them back to the state playoffs once again. We'll hear how things are going for Southeast Bulloch, Statesboro High, Portal, Bulloch Academy, all underway as well. Many of them with scrimmage games coming up in the next few weeks. Of course, the Bulloch Academy Gators will kick off the season for our area teams once again, playing in the Russell Classic. They've got a game coming up in a few weeks. 10 a.m. start there on a Saturday coming up for the Bulloch Academy Gators. So plenty on the docket. Statesboro High softball starts the season on Tuesday. Bulloch Academy was scheduled for Monday. They won't begin until this weekend as they'll be participating in the Tattnall County Tournament along with Statesboro High. Southeast Bulloch gets the season underway on the road. They won't be home until next Tuesday. Portal in action this week as well. So plenty to get to. We'll have interview with Tom Kleinlein and hear from Georgia Southern head coach Chad Lunsford and some of the players about the beginning of football season coming up in just a moment. And a reminder before we go to break, hopefully you'll never be in an accident, but if so, please give our friends at the Sullivan Law Firm a call, 912-489-8888, or online at thesullivanlawfirm.com.
The Medical Center Pharmacy on Grenade Street is proud to be your Health Mart pharmacy in Statesboro. The Medical Center Pharmacy, locally owned and serving this community for 50 years, is open 364 days a year. The pharmacists at Medical Center know there's nothing more important than your family's well-being. That's why they take the time to know their customers, explain their medications, and answer any questions. The Medical Center Pharmacy, your Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Well, the Georgia Southern Eagles opening up practice on this past Friday on the banks of beautiful Eagle Creek. Unfortunately, some bad news that Coach Lunsford mentioned at the start of practice, and that was the suspensions of both quarterback Shy Wirtz and defensive lineman Quan Griffin due to them both being arrested in the previous week. Griffin's case is still pending. Shy Wirtz is back at practice for Georgia Southern. It has been announced that he will miss the LSU game but be able to participate in the rest of the games and practices for him. As for the good news, the Eagles back in action coming off their bowl victory this past year. We had a chance to talk with Coach Lunsford about the start of practice as the Eagles getting excited about the 2019 campaign.
I was worried coming off 10-3 and going, okay, we were 2-10, we went 10-3. When we got back in January, I was worried about where our guys would be like, oh, we've arrived, we're here, we're all that. But what I found, even though I was going to challenge them from the start, is they were already talking like, man, we came in third in the Sun Belt. And so that chip was already on the shoulder early on. To me, the last things that have now happened is just adversity. I think, again, you're always going to have bumps in the road, and I think our guys understand that, hey, it's either a next man up or it's, you know, become closer as a football team and continue to bond. And that's the one thing I'll say at Georgia Southern, you know, and I'm not going to predict what our win-loss record's going to be, But I'm going to tell you, this is a tight football team, and they've got each other's backs. If adversity is going to happen, there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be things that go down that you cannot control. And when that happens, you know, we talk a lot. I think John Wooden's the one that said it. You know, character versus reputation. You know, reputation is what people think of. Your character is what you really are. And so, you know, I challenged our guys today. Hey, man, you know, you got to step up and you got to make sure you overcome this adversity and be a team. You know, I challenge our coaches. I challenge myself to build relationships with guys. So, anytime things happen like this, you know, it's definitely gonna hurt and bother you and all that kind of stuff. But again, young people, and we got to look into it and see what happens. We talk an awful lot here about next man up, and this is opportunity right now for some young guys at quarterback, and we don't have really anybody that's taking snaps in the game, so they're gonna have to grow up quick, and you know, we need to see what they're about. I did think the quarterbacks came out and handled it very well today, though. Those first few days is a lot of installation, and you know, the first couple days is really our base stuff. So we want to make sure that we're carrying over from last year. I've used the word being more comfortable now that we've been in the same two systems with offense and defense, the same systems 2 years in a row. But we can't get complacent, you know. So we got to make sure that we're continuing to grow, and then when we start putting other stuff in, you know, that we're able to excel as soon as we do it.
It was a great feeling, man. We was a lot of the guys was waiting on this for a little minute now. It was all the talk in the locker room, ready to get out there and attack and see what we can bring forth this year.
Always good to get back out there, you know what I'm saying, back out there with my teammates. We go out there working, trying to go from good to great, and just work on our technique and fundamentals.
Felt great, you know, to be back out there with the guys. It's bonding again. It's camp time, so we know it's getting down to the crunch time, and we know we just got to stick together.
A lot of the things we do here at Georgia Southern is, one is mental training and keeping your mental stability, like learning how to reset or put things behind you. And that was one thing we had to do today, of course, with everything going on around here.
Oh yeah, we understand that, you know, this year we got a big target on our back. You know, we're not the ones going out hunting. We're the ones that's getting hunted. So we got to just go to work every day.
And as we mentioned earlier, of course, the Shy Wirtz situation right now looking pretty good, although he will miss the LSU game, but he's back at practice. So that's good news for Georgia Southern. And then they were able to start putting on the pads and getting out there on Tuesday.
Well, you know, there's always that excitement on that first day of full pads. You get the opportunity to have some live sessions in practice, and you know, it being the first day of full pads, you know, we're not ready to scrimmage yet, you know, for a full amount of time. So it was a basic practice like we normally do, and then ended the day with scrimmage. And so there was a lot of juice, a lot of energy, and I know the guys enjoyed it. The great thing about training camp, man, is you get to go all day long just doing football. And you know, you have your practices, but then you got guys coming over to meet. You got guys coming over to do weightlifting and all that stuff. So it is a grind, and you know, guys get tired, but it's fun. There's no class going on. There's nothing. It's all football. You got to make sure you're paying attention to the guys and what they're looking like out there on the field. I don't get too concerned at the beginning of camp going 5 straight practices, but tomorrow will be a day off for us. And then the way we've got it set up the rest of the way through camp, they'll only go 3 practices in a row and then have an off day in between. So it was good to go ahead and get that grind right there out of the way. And you know, I think the way it's set up should work well for their bodies.
Stay with us. Coming up next, we'll hear from Georgia Southern Athletics Director Tom Kleinlein.
What does it mean to have financial freedom?
At Queensboro Wealth Management, we're helping people figure that out
and giving them a plan to get there.
If you have a desire to take control of your finances and live with financial purpose,
we will use every bit of our knowledge to help you. And there's no cost to get started.
Download a free kit from our website, then give any of us a call. QWM is Queensboro Wealth Management. Let's begin today.
Family Internal Medicine Associates of Statesboro, providing primary care for Statesboro area patients since 1998. Providing complete physicals, complete sports physicals, Medicare wellness exams, full diabetes treatment, and education from lifestyle changes to oral medications to insulin pump therapy. In-house dermatology, in-house circulation tests and ultrasounds, in-house lab. And introducing our new nurse practitioner, Melissa Beasley, as we now accommodate same-day or next-day appointments to serve your needs. Family Internal Medicine Associates of Statesboro, where we care. Well, before the football season gets underway, thought it was important to hear from Georgia Southern Athletic Director Tom Kleinlein as he kind of reviewed what has happened this past year in Georgia Southern Athletics and looking forward to what's going on in the future.
Closed out a pretty good year last year, obviously, with having our football team go to a bowl game, our men's basketball team competing for a championship, baseball in the final game in the tournament. Really pleased with those three programs. National championship appearance by our golf program. So really exciting year in terms of sports. Excited about the academic progress our young people made in the classroom. So closing that out, and as in athletics, we don't really get a whole bunch of time to rest. So we're getting ready to just finish up our strategic planning and moving forward for next year. We are in the process right now of evaluating everything we're doing. I think the fans have seen some exciting announcements about some things we're doing differently with parking and some unique things in the football stadium, and excited about where we are with season ticket sales. We're closing in on the 6,000 mark. We surpassed our season ticket sales from last year already, so I think that's a sign that people are excited about the Eagles. I think anytime we make a decision, we look at, how does it benefit our patrons, right? We're always trying to figure out the best way to make our patrons have a better game day experience. How do we drive revenue to continue to support the things we're doing for our student athletes? When you look at those two things and you look at what we were doing, we needed to figure out a way where parking was a little more convenient for some people, the ability to reserve parking through paid parking process, and the ability to drive revenue, to be able to now say, you can park pretty convenient to the stadium for a pretty minimal fee and be able to come watch a Division I college experience and be able to take that revenue and do the things that we're doing for our student athletes and our coaches. In athletics, there's always a challenge with revenue. We always need more than we have, but when you look at our fundraising numbers, and another record year in fundraising, when you look at what we're doing on the licensing side with our Learfield agreements, those things are going very well. I think we have a couple of final things here in the next couple of weeks that we can finalize that will really enhance our game day atmosphere at Polson, and those will also help on the revenue side, and I think those will be good things for our fans. Our expectations are the same every year in and year out for all of our sports, right? It's at the end of the day, when you're successful, how do you sustain success and continue to grow and get better both on the field and in the classroom and in the community? That's across the board for football, basketball, baseball, women's sports. Each year we do an evaluation of where we're at. We look at our performance, where we fell within the conference standings, and we set goals for our coaches going into the year at our first departmental meeting, which we'll actually have ours here July 30th, and everybody will know what page we're on and what the expectations are for their programs. Yeah, I think playing at this level in the Sun Belt and playing FBS schedules week in and week out, it's going to be tough. And but that's what we expect at Georgia Southern. We expect to play a tough schedule. I think when you sit and talk to Coach Lunsford and you talk to our players, they embrace the fact that they're going to play a tough schedule week in and week out. That is the reality of this level of football, and I think our kids are up to the challenge, and I think our coaching staff's up to the challenge. So I look forward to how the season's going to go. Obviously, anytime you get a chance to put your program on a national stage against those brands, you'd like to perform as well as you possibly can. And I think those opportunities are what our kids get excited about. They want to go play in those venues. They want to go play against those people, and they want to be the story that some of the other programs in our league had. When we beat Florida, that was a great story, and our kids remember that, and we were on the news feeds for tons of hours after that game. That's the kind of opportunities we want to have in our football program and all of our programs. We got a great opportunity to do some things in basketball this year. We're playing some in-state competition that we've never played before. And so I think when you look at what we do scheduling-wise, we're always looking for opportunities in all of our program to put us up against those level of competition, to have an opportunity to knock them off and tell that story. It's really different depending on sport. Football, I'm very actively involved. Lisa Sweeney, who oversees football, she, Chad, and I kind of work together on schedules and who we're going to play and where we're going to go, and we're as far out as 7 or 8 years in our planning. Men's basketball, typically the men's basketball coaches kind of set their own schedule with input from the athletic director. We'll talk about parameters, how many non-D1s we're going to play, who I would like to see us play in the state. And then Mark will work on that with the other basketball coaches around the country to create that schedule. It's a lot easier this year since Tukey Brown's no longer with us. But in baseball, for example, Rodney Hendon handles that all on his own and kind of presents that through his sports supervisor to me. And that's the way most of the sports work. The coaches kind of handle it with their sports supervisor and then present them to us at the end of the year. Football is the only one that we're really involved in picking the opponents.
Anything on the horizon, facility-wise, or anything that you guys are working on that you're excited about?
Yeah, we announced the Hanner renovation of Hanna project this spring, and we're in the middle of that right now. We're currently refurbishing and building a new basketball floor in the back gym of Hanna, which will become the men's and women's basketball practice facility. So hopefully here by September 1st, we will have a standalone men's women's basketball practice facility, which will really help the scheduling crunch we have on Hanna. Currently right now we have men's and women's basketball, volleyball, cheerleading, and academics all competing for the same space. Having a practice facility for men's and women's basketball will really allow us to free up some space and free up some time for our kids to get practices on their own and not be crunched their academic times because they have to get in their 2 hours of practice. In addition to that project, we will also be starting on a standalone practice facility for volleyball, which we will start in the middle of the fall and hopefully finish that up by spring. In Hanna, and both of these projects come about with the movement of the health and kinesiology program. They're moving into what used to be the old, for many Eagles out there will remember the pool that we used to have on campus. Health and kinesiology is moving into that space, which has created a vacancy in these two gyms for us, and so they've allowed us, and we've worked with the president to occupy these spaces and create practice facilities for both programs. Well, I think, no matter how you look at it, I don't care what label you put on BCS, CFP, it doesn't matter what you look at, FBS, FCS, there's always going to be programs that have more than others. And there's, throughout history, if you look, there's about 10 of them that have always been at the top. I think the unique thing about college football today and college athletics overall is year in and year out, it doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, women's sports, whatever it is, there's typically stories throughout the year of those underdog programs that have achieved at a higher level, far exceeding their resources. And we got to continue to be one of those programs and continue to do that. Now, I tell people all the time, we're going to win because that's the expectation at Georgia Southern. We'll win faster if people contribute to our resources, but we're going to win because that's what we expect here. And so I think that provides an exciting opportunity for us in college athletics. It provides a lot of challenges as an athletic director, and we've got to be very creative with continuing to drive revenue and raise money and spend every dollar in the most strategic way we can. Well, we continue to have our 5 bowl tie-ins, and I think that's important to our league is, 5 opportunities to go compete against other conferences. And if you look at what we've done the last 2 years, I think the Sun Belt has been one of the better conferences in bowl competition. That's important for us. That's important for our football program to be able to walk on a stage and play a game against an Eastern Michigan out of the MAC and highlight the fact that our program can compete against those guys and do well against them. So I think the bowl situation is good. I know in future years we're continuing to talk about how do we expand that and grow those things, and I think those are just conversations that are being had at the conference levels by the commissioners, and we'll look to see where those go. The thing I want to say is I think all of our bowl locations are great destinations for fans. I mean, if you look at our fan turnout in Montgomery, Alabama, they had a great time in Montgomery and had a great time in Mobile. Both of them were in the rain, and we were there strong, and so I think for our young people to be able to go to places like Mobile, Montgomery, Orlando, the other destinations within our league and the bowl agreements, Myrtle Beach here in the near future, I think those are going to all be great places to have a great bowl experience.
And stay with us. Coming up next, we'll hear from Southeast Bulloch head football coach Barrett Davis. Come visit us locally here in Statesboro at Piedmont Loop beside Walmart.
Yes. Yes. You ready? Yeah. Yes, this is it.
It's Badcock Home Furniture and More's 115th anniversary. Get an extra $115 off your purchase and enter our 15 days of giveaways. Save big on select mattress sets and select sofas. It's easy with your style, our credit at Badcock Home Furniture and More's 115th anniversary.
A sports injury can stop you in your tracks. At Optum Orthopedics, our specialized physicians and staff use advanced orthopedic procedures with one specific goal in mind: to get you back to you. If you have a sports injury, request an evaluation. Experience the Optum difference.
Well, year one under Southeast Bulloch head coach Barrett Davis, a successful one for the Jackets as they were able to make it back to the state playoffs and came pretty close to winning a state playoff game. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so once again, that's where the Jackets have their sights set this season. We had a chance to talk with them about how things are looking for this year.
Summer's going good. We've been practicing 4 days a week in the month of July when we came back after the 4th of July dead week, and June we did 3 days a week for the month of June. So we'll have 31 workouts by the end of this month. But we've had good participation. We've been to 4 contact camps. You're allowed 6. We went to 4 days. We went to Jeff Davis for a camp. We went to Richmond Hill for a camp, and then we went to Burke County for a 2-day camp. So it's been good. We got a lot of good stuff on film to see what we need to work on. We lost a big senior class last year with 21 seniors. We have a bigger senior class this year, I think around 26 kids, but a lot of those kids that we lost last year were 2-year starters for us. So a lot of those kids have graduated. We graduated a lot of experience. So I'm excited about this group that will be seniors and juniors this upcoming class. It's just we got to get our feet wet a little bit and get some game experience. I think will help us. We lost 8 on defense, 5 on offense. Majority of we returned 1 linebacker, 1 lineman, and 1 secondary player from our team last year on defense. So a lot of new kids have stepped in, and some kids have really stepped up in positions, and we're still have a few question marks at certain spots, but that's why we do these contact camps. That's why we play our scrimmages. And offensively, we lost 5, and we lost a lot of our skilled kids. Tyler Bailey will be hard to replace. Blaze Minnick will be hard to replace. C.J. Coney will be hard to replace. We got a lot of kids that made a lot of big plays for us, but we've also got some kids that have really stepped up. So we're going to rely on our offensive line where we return most of our experience. And Jamari Daniel, our running back, he was a 1,000-yard rusher for us last year. He's coming back from a surgery, so he should be ready hopefully around mid-August. So we're excited about getting him back too. I think our strengths will be on our offensive line, and I think our strengths on defense will probably be in the secondary and at linebacker. We've gotten some kids. I think we're going to be a faster team overall than we were last year. I think we'll have more speed. Like I said, we just got to work on the game experience, getting caught up to game speed for what they'll see, once we open the scrimmages up in our season. So, but the kids are working hard. They've done everything we've asked them to do. They take coaching real well, and we make practice as fun as we can, but also as business type as we can. So that way kids stay interested, and but also they're accomplishing something and trying to get better each day.
And plenty more to come in the weeks to come. We'll hear from Statesboro High head coach Jeff Kaiser once again as their season approaches, and Bulloch Academy head coach Pat Collins. We'll also head out to Portal, see how the Panthers are looking. We'll have some softball highlights for you next week as well. But that'll wrap things up for now. We thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.